2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, the 23rd of September, and it's International Day of Sign Language. And a big happy birthday to Julio Iglesias, Bruce Springsteen, Sherry Blair, and Anthony Mackie.
7.
The gas crisis escalated yesterday with 2 more firms exiting the market, Avro Energy and Green Energy. That leaves 1.5 million customers faced with finding a new provider as the cost of gas continues to rise. Meanwhile, the government's paid tens of millions of pounds to kickstart the production of carbon dioxide so we don't run out of food. They've done a short-term deal to get one of CF Industries' plants back up and running, as Environment Secretary George Eustace explains.
We've intervened on a short-term basis just for a few weeks so that we can keep that carbon dioxide supply going. It's going to be into many millions, possibly the tens of millions, but it's to underpin some of those fixed costs.
He also pointed the finger at the pandemic and the greater-than-expected demand as the world's economies started to open up again.
We didn't foresee that these 2 plants would need to close. There's a lot of, as said, turbulence in global supply chains as the world sort of starts to get back to business as usual. We're seeing surges in demand for gas. That's having knock-on impacts that you can't always predict.
At the Business Select Committee, though, Energy Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng seemed to think all of this was quite predictable, which probably raises more questions than it answers.
Typically at this time of year, between 5 and 8 companies exit the market, and clearly there's a lot more pressure this year. And we've anticipated the spike in price because we could see it in the summer.
Boris has been busy at the UN in New York, then travelling by train to meet Joe Biden. But he's not bringing anything nice home for us. There's no sign of a trade deal with the US, which was one of the long-promised Brexit benefits. Boris now says he's not surprised by that, although we were supposed to be first in line back in 2017.
I've always thought that a trade deal with the US would be difficult because I know what the US is like as what they're like as negotiators, and they're very, very tough.
He finally got to deliver his speech at the UN and called for the world to focus on the COP26 summit in Glasgow.
We're approaching that critical turning point in less than 2 months when we must show that we are capable of learning and maturing and finally taking responsibility for the destruction we are inflicting, not just upon our planet, but upon ourselves. It's time for humanity to grow up.
He's also been practicing his French on the long nights in the hotel room, and he had a few choice phrases for Emmanuel Macron as the row continued over the #AUKUS defence pact between the UK, US and Australia.
I just think it's time for some of our dearest friends around the world to, prenez un grip about all this, and donnez-moi un break, because this is fundamentally a great step forward for global security.
There were 34,460 new cases of COVID-19 in the UK yesterday, with 166 additional deaths announced. In the United States, Joe Biden spoke at the UN COVID summit to introduce a new European-US COVID vaccine partnership and insisted that global leaders should be donating, not selling vaccines to lower-income countries, and that those donations should have no strings attached. He also committed further American vaccine donations to the developing world.
This is another 500 million doses that will all be shipped by this time next year. And it brings our total commitment to over 1.1 billion vaccines. For every 1 shot we've administered, we have now committed to do 3 shots to the rest of the world.
Social media has been full of extraordinary footage of the volcanic eruption in La Palma on the Canary Islands. Dramatic scenes as lava rumbles through houses and splashes into swimming pools have caused fear and anxiety as the lava flow continues downhill towards more densely populated areas. We'll have more on the science of volcanoes on this Sunday 7, by the way. The Cumbre Vieja volcano has continued to erupt, and local tour guide Jonas Perez, who's already been evacuated from his house, says people on the island are terrified.
Today has been really active, really explosive, really loud. We don't really know the dimensions of it. Anything could happen still. If it stays where it is, at least everybody knows which direction, and everybody else in this island could rest.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Rihanna says she's back making music, and Netflix have been shopping again. Right after this.
You're listening to the Smart 7. If you're enjoying it, you might also like the Smart 7 Island Edition. Just search and follow us on your favourite podcast platform.
3,
There were 6 more games in the third round of the Carabao Cup last night, with some more Premier League clashes, including Wolves taking on Spurs and Man United playing West Ham for the second time in 4 days. Arsenal beat AFC Wimbledon 3-0, Brighton knocked out Swansea 2-0, Leicester beat Millwall 2-0 and 2 games went to penalties, with Chelsea beating Aston Villa and Spurs beating Wolves. Man United lost to West Ham going down 1-0 and are out of the Carabao Cup early, having reached the semis twice before under Ollie. He was putting it all down to a slow start.
Poor start, slow start again, and that needs addressing. I think we've addressed that a few times in the league as well, but we started slowly. They got the goal, and after that I thought we played well for long periods.
She's been pretty busy building a billion-dollar empire, but there's good news. Rihanna hasn't forgotten about the music. She was out and about promoting her latest Savage X Fenty show, and she stopped to chat about her next album.
You're not going to expect what you hear. I'm really experimenting, and music is it's like fashion. You should be able to play. I should be able to wear whatever I want, and I treat music the same way. So I'm having fun. And it's going to be completely different.
I'm hearing an album of Right Said Fred classics set to ukulele. No? They've gone and bought themselves a golden ticket. Yep, Netflix has just done its biggest acquisition so far. They've snapped up all of the rights to the works of Roald Dahl. The streaming company already has 16 properties under license and projects in development, including a Taika Waititi TV version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
But much like Veruca Salt, they couldn't resist gobbling up the lot. The family of Roald Dahl say that some of the funds will be used to set up a charitable trust to support charity partners who tackle children's issues, anti-hate and anti-racism after they apologised last year for the author's anti-Semitic remarks. In the meantime, for any other streaming platforms that were hoping to get in on the action...
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.